The sun is right at the cute little tail of Capricorn today, and it's moving well into Aquarius. Now, I'm of the opinion that all of the constellations have overlap anyways. You will notice that I don't get super hung up on any of the boundaries. I just think it's a giant waste of everyone's time and effort because, again, there's a flow to all of these things, okay? I don't usually get too hung up on the exact degrees unless we're doing prediction, in which case sometimes that's good to know, so you can pinpoint dates a little bit better. But here in the fish side of Capricorn, and arguably already into Aquarius, we are dealing with a couple of different things. From the fish, we get some overlap with the meaning of the fish of Pisces. Now, in Mesopotamia, this was Nanshe. And she was a goddess of dream interpretation and basically psychic abilities. But also she was the matron goddess of widows, orphans, and the infirm. She was very altruistic, very loving, nurturing, devoted. And generally the fish of Pisces are associated with love and fertility, peace, and pretty much all wonderful good things, which came from the water, whether it was the fresh water or the salt water. That's where people were getting lots of fish and food and sustenance to feed themselves and their family. And so obviously the water element was associated with creativity and bounty and all of those cool things that we just talked about. So we get some of that here with the fish of Pisces. But as we get into Aquarius, we start talking about Enki, this figure, whom I'm sure if you spend any amount of time on YouTube, you have probably heard about before as being one of the Anunnaki, or some, version thereof. But his name translated as Lord of the Earth. En means Lord, Ki means Earth. Pretty straightforward. He was a god of knowledge and wisdom, and he was the holder of the divine powers known as the May. Sometimes you hear people call them Mays, but it's M-E. So not me, not the me, the May. And these were basically like the gifts of civilization, okay? And they included all of the cool stuff that separates, yes, Enki, a new Noki. Is that what we're reading over here?
Yes, that's what we're reading over here.
Hey, Friar.
Oh, I'm not Friar. I'm Nikki. Oh, you guys, hello, dude.
I was not expecting to hear your bassy voice over there.
Oh,
your sexy radio voice. I wasn't ready.
Oh, you got Scorpio in Uranus.
Hello.
Yes.
Hi there. That's exactly how Nikki sounds, by the way. Yes.
We love Nikki.
Yes, we do. Yeah, so Enki. Gifts of civilization, which is not the technical term, but the divine powers. There's like 107 or something like that. I'm bad with numbers, you guys, so don't quote me on that. And it also depends on, which source. A lot of them you can't see. Hi, Nikki. A lot of them you can't tell. The text is mutilated, so there's a lot of, we know that there's more gifts of civilization or divine powers that we're actually aware of what they are. But they included things like kingship, heroship, prostitution even, which wasn't looked down with quite as much loathing as we have in modern times. But anything that basically separated us from animals. Okay. So animals can do a lot of cool things. And, we can make the case that people are kind of like really smart animals, but there are some things that like animals just don't care about, like kingship. They don't care. Okay. All right. So additionally, Enki, in the oldest stories that we have about the creation of humankind, yes, it predates the Bible, you guys, by quite a bit, by thousands of years. But we have the story about there's a couple of them. So one of them, which happens to be the basis of the whole Zechariah Sitchin, the Anunnaki they created humans to mine gold or whatever he claims that they do. One of them is Enki's mom comes to him, excuse me, and says, hey, the gods are tired of doing all this work. Can you help us out with this? And because he loves his mom, he's like, okay, sure. So he makes people, and that's literally it. It's like a paragraph And that's the whole thing. There's not some grand conspiracy to enslave mankind and make them, mine gold in Africa or whatever it is that people say. Or what's the thing? The Matrix stuff. They're harvesting soul energies. None of that, you guys. His mom they were tired. The other gods were just tired of doing all the work. So, and this is clearly just a story. They weren't real people there. If you look at their names, they're clearly the embodiment of the different, the personification of natural forces. That's what we're talking about. So anyways, there's another story where he and his consort are drunk, and they're having this drunken competition as to who can create the best human. And they messed it up a lot. Some of the people, their arms weren't the same size. Some people couldn't hold their bladder. One guy didn't have a mouth. I mean, it was a mess. They definitely messed it up. But the moral of that story was basically Enki gave all of these people their bread. He found a place in society for all of these people. And he basically says, however somebody's born, it's not karma. I mean, I'm paraphrasing. This is just the will of the gods, and they're perfectly fine the way that they are. All right. So on top of that, and I know this is like a lot, okay? Aquarius is a giant constellation and it has a ton of different meanings, but it's important to understand what's going on whenever we start to deal with Aquarius, okay? Because we hear about the age of Aquarius and all that goofy stuff. But Enki is also the figure in all three of the major flood myths in Mesopotamia. So you got like the Sumerian, the Assyrian, and the Babylonian, probably some in between. But basically, he's the figure who tells the Noah character, hey, there's a flood coming. The gods are going to destroy you. This is how you build an ark. These are the dimensions. These are, you got to save the seeds and whatever. So even in that, he's always benevolent. He's always trying to help people out. Now, he does screw up once in that. And I don't know, Friar, do you think we'll get in trouble if we talk about history and like incest?
I hope so.
Is there? Oh, okay. Is there a censor out there who goes around specifically looking for videos about incest? Okay.
The heresy police and the incest police are working together.
Yes. Yeah. So he, in this Garden of Eden, where there's no civilization, there's none of this stuff, he and his consort, who is the earth, they copulate and they create, she has her first daughter. Well, he sees his daughter walking on the bank. He's like, oh, she's so beautiful. And, he's a little frisky because he's the god of the freshwater abyss, which also the word for water happens to be the same for semen. You do the math on that. He's definitely randy most of the time. So he impregnates her. She has a daughter. He impregnates that daughter. And so he's just impregnating all of these granddaughters until his wife finally has enough and decides to grow these plants, which he doesn't know what they are. And that's a big deal for him because he's this god of wisdom. He knows all the answers of the mysteries of the universe and whatnot. So he eats the plants. He gets very sick. And the only way that he can be healed is by, once again, copulating with the earth. And each of her daughters, now that are born, they all like have some magical power that heals him. And what we're really getting out of this is this creative power that Aquarius has is so strong that if it is not channeled into something powerful and artistic, it becomes self-destructive. And so, yes, you can get somebody who they have so much creativity, they have no idea how to function in society. They turn to drugs, alcohol, too much sex, whatever it may be. Hopefully not actual incest. But, there it is. So this constellation is very benevolent. Nikki, I don't know. Nikki, get in if you're watching in the comments. Please tell me because I'll have to look it up. I don't know, Friar, if you want to look it up. Like, what is all the other goofy stuff that they talk about with Aquarius? I know there's like some, what do they say? Like it's mysterious and spooky and illusions. I think that's one. Illusions, delusions, things that end with oosions, contusions. I don't know. But I know that they don't bear out statistically. If you don't believe me, find 10 people, read the description of Aquarius for them and see who it lines up with. It's going to be like maybe 50, maybe if you're lucky, 75%, but it's not 100%. And I can tell you 100% of the time, people with strong Aquarius in their chart, especially a sun in Aquarius, but really anything, they are innovators. They are communicators, teachers. They are working on a different level. Okay. You got a lot of physicists, scientists, inventors, and engineers, all kinds of cool tech people. As a matter of fact, this is also a very strong technical constellation, which is why Saturn's placement here has been rocking the AI revolution here over the last couple of years in particular.